Are you someone who is a little anxious about traveling or cruising because of safety protocols? Want to know what to expect when it comes to where to find your life jackets and things like that? Let's talk about it. Hi, AJ here with Byte Size Cruises. Today I want to talk about a requested video that we had about some of the safety changes that have been made on board cruise ships and some other quick safety facts to help you feel more comfortable when you do get on board. So this is a direct from one of my comments video idea. So if at the end of this video you have other questions that you would like to ask and you'd like me to cover, I am more than happy to do that. Just let me know in the comments below. All right, so we're going to start it off with the question that was asked in the comments, and that is that fairly recently, cruise lines have removed the life jackets from the room and they are now kept at your muster station. So I know that for a lot of people, it was really comforting to kind of go into your cabin and be able to see, oh, the life jacket is up on the top shelf or it's under the bed. Usually there was a place marked for it, and a lot of the cruise lines have taken them out of the rooms and they now keep them at the muster stations. And honestly, this is for a very good reason. So first off, the likelihood of you needing them is very slim, but we'll touch on that a little later in the video. Second of all, it actually makes a lot more sense. So having them there as that visual reminder was a really great indication that, no matter what, you were kind of in control of your safety a bit. And removing that kind of startled a lot of people. But what would happen in case of emergency that they wanted to kind of mitigate is that people were going to have to go back to their rooms first and then to their muster station. And when you have people moving with two different purposes into the ship rooms to get their life jackets or straight to the muster station, you actually create a lot more traffic jams. And so this way, no matter where you are, you're heading right to your muster station. So all of the traffic is moving in the direction of those muster stations with the same purpose. The other thing is they can have all of the life jackets where they need to be. It cuts down on needing to, make sure they have enough in all of the different locations. Instead, they're exactly where they're supposed to be, and you can get them there. And then the third kind of thing that happened is people were stealing them. And so that is really a safety issue for all of us. Don't steal things from the cruise ship. It's very rude. And so in reality, while this feels like a loss of control over the situation, it actually is safer and more efficient for getting people onto the lifeboats where they need to go, or just off of the ship in general. You're actually able to get to your life jacket faster in any situation other than if you are in your cabin sleeping. That being said, it also, not having people return to their cabin, cuts down on people bringing things onto the lifeboats that they shouldn't be. So you still are supposed to go back to your cabin if you need to get medications or things like that. So if you are an anxious person, something that you can do to kind of cut down on that worry is to carry a spare set of medication with you. This is actually super smart anyway. Especially if you're leaving the ship. If you're getting off the ship to go on an excursion, things happen. If you are life or death dependent on your medication, you should have it with you, just in case. And that's just something for general travel is a really great safety tip. In reality, you are just as safe. There are just as many life jackets. They are just kept in those central locations at the muster drill stations. If you are really concerned about it, you can ask your room steward, or when you are doing your muster drill check-in, to ask them to show you where they are and how to use them. They are more than happy to educate you or to give you a time to come learn about it. And they want you to feel safe and secure on the ship, so they are very happy to do that. Next up is lifeboat access. What if in an emergency I'm too stressed, I can't find my way there? On the kind of sub worry about this is, what if I'm not with my kid? What if they're in the kids center? How do I make sure that my family is all going to make it there okay? something to keep in mind. The crew drills this. They don't just drill it once a week when you get on board. They drill it, if you've ever stayed aboard a cruise ship while everybody's in port, at least one of those days, if not more, they are doing evacuation drills. The crew is trained for these situations. They train regularly, they train often, and they are trained to deal with what to do if a child is separated from their family. They are trained to deal with what to do if someone is panicking. They are trained to deal with people who may have mobility limitations to get them where they need to be safely. You are in really great hands when you're on board a cruise ship, and no cruise line wants to be the next Titanic. Like, that happened once, we're good. So they really do take care to make sure that they know what they're doing. And there are a lot of laws and things in there, but I do encourage you, if you ever do feel really concerned and you are a semi-regular cruiser, not to get in their way, but to kind of sit somewhere central and just see how everybody moves when you hear the announcement about the drills happening. It's actually kind of cool because, like, you don't see that much happening, but there is a lot happening. Like, you'll be on the pool deck and then go down and the entire hallway is evacuated stickers, and they check the rooms for people. Like, they want you to get off safely. Kind of a secondary thing to that is, what if there aren't enough lifeboats? What if there's not enough room on the lifeboats? There are more lifeboat seats than there are people. They are built to hold more than their capacity. So even if there was an entire set of stowaways on board, everybody's getting off the ship. The lifeboats are safe. Even if one of them ends up broken, the other lifeboats can take on what they need. As I said earlier, nobody wants to be that ship. So everything has been thought of, has been checked off, has been tested. They are examined weekly as well. They're cleaned, they are tested, they are maintained. I've seen it on more than one of my cruises. One of them specifically, I actually saw them testing the pulleys, which was kind of cool to see, to make sure that everything was working. So they are there. And once again, you can ask someone to show you where the lifeboats are and where they're accessible from. But as long as you make it to your muster station, and in an emergency, just go to your muster station. There are the safety videos that you can watch and you're supposed to watch before every cruise, and they are helpful. They do give you all of that information, and it is maritime law that you understand how to get to your muster station and what the procedure is before they set sail. So that's what those videos are there for. So don't worry, you are educated before you set sail. All right, and I would like to take a moment, pause there, and ask that if you find this video useful, or any of the other videos on the channel, if you could please subscribe, like this video, help other people who are nervous or might have some questions they're afraid to ask to find me and these videos. That would really help out a lot. All right, let's get back to it. Another safety thing that I hear a lot is, what if I break the elevator? I'm too heavy for it. Elevators are rated between 3,000 and 5,000 pounds. So that's up to 20 or more people. So I completely understand not wanting to get in a crowded elevator. I hate them. The bigger danger with the elevator is actually that you're going to catch a cold or something like that than the elevator breaking. They are examined regularly. Like I said, they hold like 5,000 pounds. The odds of getting enough people in there, like, it would be uncomfortable before you got to that weight limit. So there is no worry there. But I also hate elevators. I avoid them at all costs. I try to see how little I can take an elevator. So I understand that fear. It is one of my fears. But, for as much as I'm afraid of elevators, I have never had one break on me. So I guess there's that. But yeah, you're not going to be too heavy for the elevator. And, it would be hard to fit enough weight into the elevator to make it fall. In fact, on Royal Caribbean, a lot of their elevators, there is a roaming pianist that moves a full piano in there. So you're good. Next up, fire on a cruise ship. What happens if there's a fire? So this is the most likely thing to go wrong on a cruise ship, is for there to be a fire. That's true. However, your staff, once again, is trained for this. They know where all of the firefighting equipment is. There are fire doors. There is 24 hours, 7-day-a-week sensors, and they get them taken care of fast because it is one of the biggest dangers. And that is also why they ask you to not be charging things unattended, making sure that you're keeping an eye on the things you are charging, that they aren't getting too hot, and why you don't see flames on a cruise ship very often at all, because it is a safety risk. While it is the most likely thing to happen, you hear about it as often as it does happen, because, you know, people like to sensationalize things. So it doesn't happen often. They are trained for it. There's a lot of safety mechanisms in place for that. And you are definitely going to hear the alarms going off if there is a fire. They will wake you up. They are loud. They are obnoxious. And yeah, they're trained to handle it quickly. So you can rest assured that there is someone nearby. If the fire starts in your room, definitely go out into the hallway. Make sure you keep a level head and yell. Just yell for someone. But the fire doors are effective. The crew is trained. And as long as you are following the proper procedures, you should be good. But if you do notice anything in your room is running extra hot, or if you are afraid of a frayed wire, or you see like a loose outlet, anything like that, you should definitely let somebody know. They want to prevent a fire as much as you do. And, you know, really what all of these boil down to is that the cruise lines it is their bottom line on the line if anything goes wrong. And so they are making sure that their crew is trained, that they have you educated, and that all their ducks are in a row, because a real tragedy on a cruise ship can sink the whole line. So they want to make sure that they're preventing that their guests feel safe, and that they have everything covered for making sure that you have a great vacation. Honestly, the dangers you really do have to look out for are mainly viral and bacterial related. So, you know, you want to make sure that you are washing your hands before you eat. The norovirus is not killed by hand sanitizer. There are a number of other foodborne illnesses and bacteria that you come in contact with that are not killed by hand sanitizer. So you want to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds, scrub them real good before you eat. And that is going to cut down on your biggest thing. There are more people who get sick and have their vacations ruined every day by stomach problems than by any of these other issues. And that is something that you can prevent. Same thing goes with the elevator. Like I said, your biggest risk is getting sick. If that's something you're worried about, make sure that you have a mask to wear in the elevators. Elevators, theater, and walking around the buffet are the places I most recommend wearing a mask if you are immunocompromised or afraid of getting sick. And then also the kids' areas or any pools that the kids are in, those are a cesspit of germs. I personally really only use the pools and hot tubs in the adult only area because of that. People let their kids in diapers go into the pools and they're not supposed to, but nobody stops them. So those are honestly the much bigger risks than anything else. But even those are easy to mitigate if you are aware of them. And that is honestly the biggest thing you can do, is kind of educate yourself on where those real risks are. In the event of an emergency, I would be far more concerned about having alternate routes maybe than the common ones to navigate around other passengers, because that's my biggest fear, is other passengers over the preparedness of the cruise ship. But even then, a little bit of forethought and keeping calm is going to go a long way. So the best thing you can do to prepare yourself for an emergency on board is education, some mindfulness to help you keep your calm under pressure, and having a plan. And for the most part, the cruise ships take care of the preparedness and the having a plan for you. Listen to your staff members, follow their directions in case of an emergency. But all of the changes that the cruise lines have made recently, particularly about where the life vests are kept, are for your safety and to make it an easier experience should you need them. All right, what other cruise questions do you have? I would love to hear them. You can go ahead and put them in the comments below or send me an email, aj@bytesizecruises.com, byte is with a Y, and I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you for submitting this question, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.